The next Masterclass styles are coming to the Blue Lock Rivals, and it is actually huge. So, it's been a while since we've talked about Masterclass styles. Like seriously, it's been quiet. No leaks, no teasers, nothing. And I don't just mean it's been a few days. It's been almost a full month since the last one dropped. The last Masterclass style we got was Livigno, and as most of you probably remember, that release was huge. It completely shifted the meta for a bit. Flashy moves, unique animations, and that insane mobility that made him stand out even against world-class styles. But now, a month later, it's about that time again. If we go by how the devs usually schedule their updates, we're due for another Masterclass style soon. Maybe even in the next 1 or 2 updates. And looking at how long it takes to develop a Masterclass character, from concept to animation to testing, I'd say they've definitely been working on the next one already. Even if it's not fully modeled yet, they've for sure got a moveset written down somewhere. So, the question is, who's next? Which Masterclass style are we getting after Livigno and Loki? Because both of those were absolutely top-tier releases. Loki brought that insane velocity system, and Livigno came in with his unpredictable flair that made dribbling feel like an art form again. So, whoever comes next has to live up to that level of hype. But before we go further, I just wanted to remind you that if you're enjoying my content, and if you like Blue Lock Rivals content, I'd be happy if you like this video and of course subscribe to my channel. It's actually giving me a lot of motivation to keep making daily videos just for you guys, so thank you in advance. Let's get back to the main topic. Now, the good news is, we actually have a few hints and not just random speculation. There are a couple of characters that the community, and even the devs themselves, have been subtly teasing before. And from what we've seen so far, I think there are 3 strong contenders for the next Masterclass style. Let's start with the one that's almost guaranteed. Noel Noa. Yeah, I know. This one's been teased so many times it's kind of becoming the inevitable release. And honestly, it makes perfect sense. We've already seen multiple small mentions of Noah across the official Discord. Miro himself even hinted at him a few weeks ago when talking about future Masterclass plans. He mentioned something about wanting to add a true balance of speed and precision, which fits Noah perfectly. Because Noah isn't just another flashy striker, he's the complete player, the world's #1 striker. And here's the thing, people always say, but we haven't seen many of his moves in the manga, which is true to an extent. But when you really think about it, we've still seen more of Noah's gameplay than we did for Livigno before he was added. Livigno got, what, a few pages of highlights at most? And yet his moveset in Blue Lock Rivals turned out to be one of the cleanest and most creative we've ever had. So, if they could make a full Masterclass kit out of Livigno with that limited material, imagine what they can do with Noel Noa, who's been present across multiple arcs. He's literally the standard that every other striker is compared to. Now, let's talk about how his gameplay might look. If you've watched my older videos, you might remember I already talked about the idea of styles having balanced, hybrid mechanics. Basically a style that can dribble, shoot, and pass with equal efficiency. Not the fastest, not the strongest, but perfectly consistent. And that's Noel Noa's whole character. Perfection. I think his moveset will reflect that. Something like a predictive move where he reads opponents' positioning in real time and automatically adjusts his path. Or maybe a power precision shot that sacrifices flashy effects for pinpoint accuracy. Like the opposite of Kaiser's impact shot, but still just as dangerous. And of course, he's going to have something tied to mentorship or leadership, since in both the manga and the anime, Noah plays a coach-like role. Maybe a team synergy passive, where nearby teammates get a small buff when he passes to them or sets them up for a shot. That would not only make him unique, but it would also fit the lore perfectly. The master guiding the next generation. So yeah, I'd say Noah is easily the most likely Masterclass style we'll see next, but he's not the only one. Because the second most likely candidate, at least in my opinion, is none other than Snuffy. Now, Snuffy is one of those characters that the devs haven't been teasing indirectly too much like with Noel Noa. But there were some hints. He's already been mentioned in polls. His name has popped up in dev messages, and more importantly, he actually fits perfectly into the current game. Think about it. He's a player that already has strong chemistry potential with multiple existing characters, most notably Don Lorenzo and King. We already have both of those in the game, and adding Snuffy would just complete that trio. Plus, if you've read the manga, you know that Snuffy isn't just another striker. He's more of a tactical genius. I could easily see his kit revolving around pressure and disruption. Like, imagine if one of his moves could temporarily mess with enemy stamina or slow their recovery rate, representing how mentally draining it is to play against him. Or maybe a body control mechanic, where he uses his size and strength to completely block an opponent's movement for a few seconds. Kind of like Don Lorenzo's Golden Defense, but used offensively instead of defensively. And if they really want to push it, they could even make one of his awakenings tied to a dual synergy animation with Don Lorenzo. Maybe a combo cutscene move that triggers when both are on the same team, like they did with the Lavinho and Bachira cutscene, or just a chem reactions. That would be insane. We haven't had any awakening sequences that connect two different characters yet, and Snuffy would be the perfect one to start that trend. So yeah, Snuffy has everything going for him. Established lore, existing chem partners, and tons of potential for unique gameplay. If they release him after Noah, I think the community would go crazy in the best way. Now, for the third potential Masterclass style, and this one's a bit less likely but still possible, we have Chris Prince. And I know, you're probably thinking, wait, Chris? But we barely even saw his moves in the manga. And you'd be right. We didn't see much of his actual gameplay, at least not as much as we did for Snuffy or Noah. But the thing about Chris is that what we did see was enough to build a really interesting character. Because we know a few key things about him. 1, he's the second best striker in the world, right behind Noah. 2, he's all about physical perfection, constantly training his body to perform at its peak. And 3, he specializes in knuckleball shots and precision-based strikes that are basically impossible to read. So while he doesn't have as much visual material as Noah or Snuffy, his whole identity gives the devs a lot to work with. They can focus on making him the most athletic style in the game, fast recovery, high stamina, and maybe even self-healing or buff mechanics that represent how he takes care of his body. And those knuckleball shots? Oh, those are going to look beautiful in-game. You can already imagine the animation. The ball spinning unpredictably, curving mid-air, leaving a white vapor trail behind it as it bends into the goal. That would instantly make him stand out. And honestly, if they could give Bunny a full moveset, despite him having maybe 2 manga moments total, they can absolutely make something incredible for Chris Prince. So yeah, those are my top 3 picks for the next Masterclass styles: Noel Noa, Snuffy, and Chris Prince. If I had to make an educated guess, I'd say Noah will come first, Snuffy after, and Chris later down the line. Maybe as part of a future event or collaboration update. Anyway, that's going to be all for today's video. Let me know what you guys think. Who do you believe will be the next Masterclass style? Are you Team Noah, Team Snuffy, or Team Chris? As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to drop a like if you enjoyed, and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next update breakdown when the new Masterclass style finally drops. It's only a matter of time now, and trust me, when it does, we're going to have a lot to talk about. See you guys in the next one. Peace.